Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. For our case study, we have selected Airasia for organizational development in the post-pandemic era. So Airasia founded in 2001 and headquartered in Kuala Lumpur. Airasia is a leading low-cost airline operating in more than 20 countries. It was co-founded by Tony Fernandez and Datuk Kamarudin Meranun. Besides aviation, Airasia has expanded into the Airasia Move ecosystem, including travel services, digital platforms, logistics, food delivery, and financial services. Our group selected Airasia because it is a strong example of organizational change in the post-pandemic era. First, Airasia was heavily affected by the COVID-19 pandemic due to travel restrictions and reduced passenger demand. Second, its accelerated digital transformation through automation and data-driven systems to improve efficiency and customer experience. Third, it diversified its business into areas such as digital travel, logistics, e-commerce, and fintech under the Airasia Move ecosystem. Finally, the company implemented major restructuring and cost optimization to become more agile and resilient. Overall, Airasia shows how an organization can adapt, innovate, and recover after a global crisis.
Hi, I'm Joanna Yun. So today I'll be presenting on the financial crisis and post-pandemic impact experienced by Airasia. As one of the largest low-cost airlines in Asia, Airasia was heavily affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Travel restrictions, lockdowns, and border closure significantly reduced passenger demand and forced the airline to suspend many its operations. As a result, Airasia experienced substantial financial losses, increasing debt levels, and operational disruption. However, with the reopening of borders and the recovery of travel demand, the company gradually regained its position through restructuring initiatives, fleet reactivation, and digital transformation strategies. In this presentation, I will discuss the challenge faced by Airasia during the pandemic and the strategies that contribute to its recovery afterward. The first major impact on Airasia was the implementation of travel restrictions and border closures across many countries. Since airlines depend heavily on passenger traffic, the suspension of flights resulted in a significant decline in passenger demand and revenue. As a consequence, Airasia recorded several financial losses. In 2020, the company reported a net loss of approximately around 5.9 billion ringgit due to reduced operation and continued fixed operating costs. The financial situation became so challenging that the company was classified under PN17, indicating financial distress. To survive the crisis, Airasia increased its borrowing and negotiated debt restructuring agreement with creditors and aircraft lessors. At the same time, many aircraft were grounded, workforce reduction were implemented, salary adjustments were introduced, and the company faced significant cash flow pressure. Overall, the pandemic created one of the most difficult periods in Asia history and forced the company to make major operational and financial adjustments. Next is post-pandemic recovery. Following the easing of travel restrictions and the reopening of international borders, Airasia began to recover from the effect of the pandemic. Passenger demand increased significantly as people resumed leisure and business travel. This allowed the airline to restore routes, increase flight frequencies, and reactivate previous grounded aircraft. The improvement in travel demand contributed to stronger financial performance. In 2023, Capital A, the parent company of Airasia, reported its first annual net profit since the pandemic, recording a net profit of 508 million ringgit and annual revenue of 14.8 billion ringgit. In addition to restoring flight operation, Airasia also focused on business transformation by expanding digital service, strengthening ancillary revenue streams, and continuing its restructuring efforts. This strategy improved operational efficiency and helped position the company for long-term growth. Although challenges such as fuel costs and debt management remain, Airasia's recovery demonstrates its resilience and ability to adapt in a highly competitive aviation industry.
I will discuss the organizational change, challenges, and resistance experienced by Airasia during its transformation journey. Following the COVID-19 pandemic, Airasia faced significant pressure to reinvent its business model and reduce its dependence on airline operations. As a result, the company expanded into digital service through initiatives such as the Airasia Super App, logistics, and fintech business, transforming itself from a traditional low-cost airline into a technology-driven ecosystem. This strategic shift required major cultural and structural changes across the organizations. Employees and management had to adopt new technologies, develop digital capabilities, and adjust to a new performance indicators and business objective. However, implementing these changes was not without challenges. One of the biggest obstacles was cultural resistance. Airasia's workforce was accustomed to a traditional airline culture that emphasized operational stability, routine process, and efficiency. The transformation required a move toward a fast-paced, innovation-driven, and customer-centric environment similar to that of a technology company. Employees were expected to embrace agile practice, adapt to new ways of working, and continuously learn new skills. For many, these changes created uncertainty and discomfort as they moved beyond their familiar roles and routines. Resistance occurred because employees had to change their mindsets, adapt to different expectations, and cope with the fear of the unknown. Therefore, effective leadership, communication training, and employee engagement were essential in helping staff understand the purpose of the transformation and support in the change process. In conclusion, Airasia's experience highlights how organizational change can create both opportunities and challenges, while digital transformation and business diversification strengthen the company's future growth potential. Overcoming cultural resistance was crucial to ensuring the successful implementation of these changes and maintaining organizational competitiveness in rapidly evolving business environment.
Hi, madam and everyone. I am Shazli Natasha. So for my part, I am going to take you through how Airasia actually survived and turn things around during the post-pandemic era. So when the lockdowns finally ended and borders opened up, Airasia was in a really bad place financially. If you look at the key data on the slide, they were hit with a massive 3.1 billion net loss. Their passenger capacity dropped by over 85%, and they had already lost about 4,000 employees. Because things were so critical, the leadership couldn't just sit around. They had to change the entire way the company operated. So, what did they actually do? They focused on four main solutions to rebuild the company. First, they pushed hard into digital transformation. They upgraded the Airasia Super App by adding things like food delivery, e-wallet features, and other tech services. So this was a smart move because it meant they didn't have to rely only on selling flight tickets to make more money. Second, they did a massive organizational restructuring. So to fix their money issues, they cut down the operational costs, renegotiate planned leases, and introduce flexible working hours. So instead of just firing people, they retrain grounded staff and move them into the new digital roles. Third, Tony Fernandez stepped up as the main change agent. He didn't just manage from an office, he was super transparent and kept talking to the all-star staff through online town halls. This really helped lower everyone's anxiety and made the team trust the new direction. Lastly is they focus on the business diversification. They grew their non-flight businesses under Capital A, especially Big Pay for finances and Teleport for logistics. This gave them new ways to make more money that didn't depend on fluctuating fuel prices. If we look at this from an OD theory perspective, these steps match the changing stage in Lewin's model. Asia actively broke their old habit and adapted to the new post-pandemic world. So that's all from my part. Thank you so much.
Dayu, I will present on the effectiveness, critical analysis and recommendation. So in Asia, make it four of the effectiveness indicator. The first one is digital transformation. Asia adopt FACES facial recognition, diversify its revenue by pivoting parts of organization to logistic, which is teleport and digital service such as Santan. Asia restructure their parent entity by culminating Asia's Act with the Asia Berhad and Asia Aviation Group recovery. And the last one, rather than relying purely on the maze layout, company retrain and temporarily place ground staff, which is flight attendant and pilot, into role of partner businesses. Let's move on to the critical analysis. First, Asia merged its short haul and long haul airline under one umbrella, which is Airasia X. Let them react quickly when travel demand return, but put risk to the entire group. Secondly, the airline heavily automated its customer service, which is ASBO, has drastically cut employees' costs but caused severe customer backlash. Third, they launched the AirAsia Super App, now Move. iTeleport and Santan successfully monetized their huge passenger database while planes were grounded, but they had to compete with tech giant like Grab. Finally, instead of mass layout, AirAsia temporarily shifted either pilot and cabin crew into ground role within their new logistic and digital branches. So when the travel bounced back, their staff were ready to fly immediately. However, it will cause high stress and role friction. Firstly, AirAsia should strengthen its chain communication. Effective communication can reduce uncertainty and resistance to change. The second one, AirAsia should continue investing in employee reskilling. As technology continues to evolve, employee needs to stay updated with new competencies. The third one, AirAsia should implement continuous diagnosis. The company can regularly conduct employee surveys, customer satisfaction assessments, and performance monitoring. Lastly, I recommend that AirAsia should place greater emphasis on employees' well-being.
Hi everyone, I am Amirul. I will present the conclusion and lesson learned from AirAsia organizational change journey. In conclusion, AirAsia case show that organizational change can help a company grow and become stronger. Although change can be difficult, it can also create new opportunities when it is managed well. There are several important lessons we can learn from AirAsia. First, strong leadership is important to guide the company through challenge. Second, companies should be willing to innovate and adapt to changes in the market. Another lesson is the importance of diversifying the business of create new sources of income. AirAsia also shows that taking care of employees is important because people are the key to success. In addition, long-term planning helps a company stay prepared for the future. Finally, building strong partnerships can support growth and create more opportunities. This lesson can be applied by any organization to achieve future success. That's all from me. Thank you for watching.